despite the fact that you're from a different party, you serve Ugandans.
Yeah.
And Ugandans are Ugandans regardless of the party they belong to. And even though some politicians do not believe in that, you as a leader of opposition have to work closely with the government.
There are many instances where members of the opposition in parliament work together with those of the ruling party. How do you work differently at a time when you are discussing a budget, for example? Because when you are discussing a budget, it's a budget for the nation. It's a budget that concerns everyone. There are issues where the members of the NRM will also say no to the budget. There are issues where members of the opposition will say no to some aspects of the budget. When you are making laws, you have to work together. At some point, there were laws that were being brought by the government, and you find that we in the opposition are the ones who are giving it, seconding the motion.
It's no secret that leadership is a considerably tough journey. Many times you face challenges that get you questioning if you're really meant to lead, or even where this leadership thing is going. But it's considerably tougher for women, and especially women in politics. They have to break societal barriers to lead. And many times, many women are stuck. They are stuck with dreams that they can't pursue. And today we host one of the formidable women leaders and politicians in Uganda, Honorable Winnie Kiiza. You're welcome, Honorable.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you for joining us. She's going to share a little bit about her journey. And you see, there is something special about being first. It's not really just a title that you wear and say, oh, I was the first to do this, I was the first to implement this, or I innovated this first. It really sets you apart as a trailblazer. You get to inspire people like me. You get to inspire generations to come.
Thank you, Claire, and I'm excited that I'm here to share what I've gone through.
Yes.
It's a long story. We may not finish it in a short while that we have at this moment. But otherwise, I'm Winnie Kiiza, hailing from the mountains of Rwenzori in Kasese district, Karambi village to be specific, and Kisinga sub-county. Married with many children, including a set of twins.
Wow.
And like you have said, I started on a political journey around 25 years so back, at a time when Uganda was going into decentralization in 1998. But I had started doing politics in 1996 with elections of when Museveni was being elected the first time. But I was a supporter of Semogerere. I was an agent for Semogerere as a presidential candidate because that was my father's political party. And I grew up in a family where my mother was supporting the Uganda People's Congress and my father was supporting the Democratic Party. But by the time Semogerere came on the scene as a presidential candidate, my father had long passed on. So our mother encouraged us to stand in the shoes of our father and support his presidential candidate. That's how I came to support the Honorable Kawanga Semogerere. And then in 1998, when now the constitution was being actualized and the decentralization program was taking effect, I contested as a district councillor. So I start my political journey at that lower level of leadership, and I can tell you it was amazing serving the people on the grassroots.
Yeah.
It was so nice, it felt so sweet that I was with the real people, I was with the real people who I really loved to serve, because my passion was to speak for those who cannot speak on their own, was to challenge certain barriers that I saw were in our society. When I was growing up, I grew up seeing how widows were being overlooked. My mother, who had challenged the cultural norm of widow inheritance, I saw what she went through, and I was ready to fight for the rights and dignity of women. I was ready to fight for justice and equality. So I begin my political journey with a motivation of speaking for justice, of fighting for equality, of fighting for fair treatment. And this is what I've pursued throughout the journey. So I serve as a district councillor twice. At the district level, I was a secretary for finance. At some point, I was a secretary for social services. And yes, like you said, fast and fast and fast.
Yes.
I will say then I participated in the first multi-party dispensation at parliamentary level, coming in as a woman member of parliament. So in 2006, I was elected the woman member of parliament for Kasese under the new multi-party dispensation. And so I can say yes, after the return to multi-party politics, I was the first female to be elected in Kasese district. And worse, or most important, is that I was the first female opposition politician under multi-party dispensation from the entire Western Uganda.
Wow.
So I come to parliament and I spent 15 years in parliament. In the 15 years, I served as a deputy opposition chief whip. I served as a chairperson of a government assurances committee, chairperson of a local government accounts committee. I served as opposition chief whip. Then later, I was again the first female leader of the opposition. A position that I respected, and I want to thank all those that helped me to do that work. But I don't forget to thank the people of Kasese who trusted me for all that time, allowed me to serve them, and I think I served them with dedication to my beloved country, Uganda. I tried my best.
You did.
Thank you.
You did a great job, Honorable.
Yeah.
You did.
So I can stop the introduction at that because I know the time is not on our side.
Yes.
But given opportunity, and I'm thinking of writing the book of my story, I can talk and talk until the cows come home. But for now, that is it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Honorable. I notice a lot of fast. And the reason I really emphasize that is for so many ladies, no one has done what they want to do.
Yeah.
So it gives us courage and inspiration to go out and be fast in your field. Go out and innovate. Go out, step out and pursue those dreams, even though you're the first.
Yeah.
30 years later, you'll be seated here like Honorable Kiiza, inspiring generations to come. And moving on to one of the first positions that you held, the first female leader of opposition. What was that like? We had not seen a female leader of opposition in Uganda before. What challenges did you face as a politician, but also as a female or a lady or a woman in this key role?
Yeah, just like you have said, I was the first female leader of the opposition since independence. And you can know that the political terrain is not a smooth one for women, with the multiple roles that we have to offer to the nation.
Yes.
Childbearing, nursing the sick, being mothers, being wives, being in-laws, and of course being leaders. All that comes with a lot of work to do, and yet you have to do it. But as a leader of the opposition, what was the first challenge that I faced? One was that I was the first. And so I had no point of reference to say, think, Madam so-and-so did it this way, maybe I can also do it this way. Two, we were still in a polarized society where many people don't really believe in female leadership.
Yes.
So the first challenge I met was from my own political party. One, there was a question as to whether we should accept that we are in opposition, basing on what had happened during the elections. Our party was not comfortable with the outcome of the elections. Unfortunately, we hadn't gone to court to challenge the outcome. But there were voices within the party which were suggesting that we should not accept that we are in opposition. And so the aspect that we are naming a leader of opposition was the first challenge.
Yeah.
Now, the second challenge was that even if we were to name the leader of opposition at a critical time like this one, it wouldn't have been a woman. At least if we are to name a leader of opposition, then it must be a man.
Yeah.
So you can see the aspect of a woman cannot lead us in turbulent times.
Like this.
Had to come in, challenging as to whether a woman can take us to the next step or the next destination.
Yes.
Challenging female leadership.
Yes.
But we had to fight harder and ensure that we prove ourselves right.
Yes.
For a woman to perform, you have to prove yourself 3 times much more than men have to do it. But I want to thank God that I was able to do it. With the help of friends whom we came with to the party, the help of many civil society actors, the help of the members of parliament that we were with, and of course with the support of the staff that I had in the office, we did what we could. And I think I didn't disappoint the Ugandans. I tried my best, like I said. And even to those members of the political party who said, I think it shouldn't be a woman at this time, moreover, one who is not so senior. At the time I was elected leader of opposition, I had senior members of parliament who were senior than I was. And many of them were questioning, how come that it's this junior who is going to be our boss in parliament? But at the end of the term, I think each one of them was in agreement that the choice was the correct choice. And so there were so many challenges that we faced. Those are the first challenges that I had to first battle within my political party, the societal beliefs. And then, of course, when we went into parliament, I think everybody thought this is just a young girl, small woman. How can she become the leader of the opposition? Even those in government, I think, thought we were just going to have a field day on this young girl. They only were shocked at what came out. Yeah, so I could say briefly, those were some of the challenges. The other serious challenge that I encountered was when, as leader of the opposition and member of parliament from Kasese district, my people were attacked. When the palace was attacked, it became a big blow to my leadership. A big blow in a sense that you are here now battling the constituency issues which are of a national nature, but also blending them with the national issues that are not necessarily in your constituency.
But as leaders of
as a leader of the opposition, you also have to give them attention. So it was at that time it became so tricky for me to the extent that concentration became an issue. You are running in the constituency to make sure you are answering the demands of those people whose husbands have been killed, whose children have been killed, those whose sons are in the prisons. You have to attend to those court sessions because you have to stand surety, but you are also required to be in the house to answer to certain other issues as a leader of the opposition. You have to also be in your home as a wife, as a mother, and so you can see how to juggle between all those jobs. It wasn't an easy task. But I want to thank God once again who gave me the energy and people to support, because the family understood my situation. Parliamentary staff and other colleagues in parliament were ready to support me. My staff in the constituency was ready to do the work, and we found that everything was going well. But I also got high support from the women's movement. They understood my pain. They understood my challenge, and were there to give me a shoulder to lean on. Members of the civil society, we worked together very well, and they made my work also a little bit interesting. And so it was really an office for all of us as Ugandans. It was a citizen's office. It didn't become a Winnie's office because I knew that together we can bring different aspects of quality to the work that we want to do, but also serve in our different ways of life, knowing when to delegate and when not to delegate, knowing when to work with others and when not to work with others. That is what I learned during that time.
Wow, wow. I'm almost mind blown because in this brief response, you've shared so many lessons about what it means to lead as a woman, how you juggle leadership in the home, in the workplace, in different spaces, how you're a wife, you're a mother, you're an in-law, you're all these things, and yet none of them needs to fall down.
Yeah.
And now you have societies around you, you have friends and family and the women's movement, like you mentioned, who are there to support you. But I think one of the things that also spoke to me was when you mentioned that you were a junior
Yeah.
by the time you took on this role.
Yeah.
And for so many young people, you're wondering, how do I lead people who are older than me? How do I lead people who are above me? And right here, we have someone who stood her ground and led people who were way above her and got them later to admit that, oh, by the way, we made the right choice. But moving on, Honorable, to among many challenges that you faced, was there a time or were there times when you had to work with the NRM government, which was in power? Because one of the things I believe is that despite the fact that you're from a different party, you serve Ugandans.
Yeah.
And Ugandans are Ugandans regardless of the party they belong to. And even though some politicians do not believe in that, you as a leader of opposition have to work closely with the government.
There are many instances where members of the opposition in parliament work together with those of the ruling party. How do you work differently at a time when you are discussing a budget, for example? Because when you are discussing a budget, it's a budget for the nation, it's a budget that concerns everyone. There are issues where the members of the NRM will also say no to the budget. There are issues where members of the opposition will say no to some aspects of the budget. When you are making laws, you have to work together. At some point, there were laws that were being brought by the government, and you find that we in the opposition are the ones who are giving it, seconding the motion. There are times whenever we would lose our loved ones, you find that we are working together to make sure we give a befitting send-off to our colleague. There are times when the house was at crossroads and we would need to consult. So there are times when really party affiliations go aside and you put country first. Issues of critical nature, at times we would not look at our political parties. Even right now it happens. There are issues where you will find the leader of government business or the prime minister saying, I'm concurring with the leader of the opposition. Or areas where the leader of the opposition will say, on this I concur with the leader of government business. There are many instances. Like the example I talked about when my people were attacked. Even before the attack, when I heard there was a looming security problem in the district, the first person I called was the prime minister. I then called the commander of the army, General Katumba Wamala. These are members of government, but I had to speak to them. There is a time I even went to speak to President Museveni to set my people free. And this was always misunderstood by many people. They thought, you know, Winnie had gone to be bribed. There was no bribe. It was my people who were being killed. So no amount of money would have pushed me from what I desired for my people. But I want to speak to him, President Museveni. Can you be so kind and release innocent Ugandans? I went and talked to him. So you can imagine moving even beyond parliament to the head of state himself, who is not of my political party. But because I knew what I was believing in. I believed in fairness, I believed in justice, I believed in equality, and I believed in people's rights. And so I knew that my people needed someone to speak for them. That's why I even had to go to the person whom I knew had killed my people and was holding others wrongly. I said, please, release them. They are innocent. So at least I can say that even when he didn't fulfill part of the agreement that we made, because I have never considered him to be true, I managed to represent my people even in that perspective. So there are many ways through which even those of the opposition speak to those in the government. The time when we were challenging the amendment of the Constitution,
Yes.
there are 27 members of the ruling government who voted with us in the opposition. And this was a result of the talking that we were having with them to make them understand that Uganda was bigger than any one of us. And that keeping our constitution intact was the right thing for us to do. Some members of the government voted with us.
Wow.
And so many times we worked together. I remember there is a time, again, we were discussing the issue of the GMO in Parliament, the law when it was being made, and we had been discussing this with the Honorable Sababuturo. We had walked out of Parliament, and then they called this motion. Sababuturo stood and defended it.
Yes.
And yet he was in government.
Wow.
The other time when we walked out during the amendment of the Constitution, there was Honorable Monica Moding. She picked on the issues that we had written as members of the opposition because we were collaborating with them, some members of the ruling party. They had to take it on. Wow. There are so many things that we worked on together. The legislative agenda that we had, where we went on trafficking in persons, we were working, it had no political party. The children rights bill, no political party. The youth and women councils, they had no political party. Trafficking in persons, the genital mutilation, those that we did as women, we were doing them from across the board. Wow. But there are those that we disagreed with as members of the opposition, together with some members of the ruling government. So there are ways through which we would work together, but other ways we would disagree.
Yes.
And we would disagree in principle, not that we hate them.
If you're looking back, I do not want to mention how old I was when you joined Parliament, but looking back at who you were maybe 20, maybe 10, maybe 15 or 30 years back, and if you stood face to face with your younger self, what do you know now that you wish she knew? And if you were standing face to face with her, you'd be like, well, this no, this yes. What are those key things that you'd want to say to her?
I think I would still emphasize to a 25-year-old Winnie, keep to your values. Remain true to yourself. The friends you have, hold them dearly. Because it's the childhood friends that remain true to you. I can tell you there are many friends I have made along the way, but I realized that some of the friends I made them because I was member of Parliament. When I left Parliament, they ceased to be friends. But those friends that I had as a child, in school, through university, they have remained friends, close, because our relationship was not based on titles, was based on truth and true friendship. So I would tell that young Winnie, keep those friends close to your networks. 2, I would tell her, a good name is better than riches. Keep yourself above petty things, meaning let nothing sway you from the values that you hold so dear to yourself. Because with time, people judge you even for the wrong things you did when you were still a child. There are those young girls who have failed to progress in life because of the simple mistakes they made when they were still young. You will come to a space and they will tell you, you know, for you, you were playing around with so-and-so, you were doing this and this. They judge you from your past. They don't know that you moved on. And possibly that you learned your lessons and you are better than you were before. You will take time to explain things that you did some time back because they keep coming back to you. So let nothing sway you from what you believe in, what you espouse, and keep yourself close to your God.
Wow. Thank you, Honorable. Now, lastly, for the leaders, for the leaders in parliament, and as we gear up for the 2026 general election, and we'll be electing hopefully new leaders,
Yeah.
and maybe giving a second chance or another chance to the present leaders. What would be your message to the present leaders, male, female, really the leaders in Uganda's governance sector today?
I would still encourage them to be people-centered. Many times when we are looking for votes, we tell people, I come, I will be closer to you, I will be your representative. And then towards elections, we start attending burial after burial. You attend weddings, you are everywhere, virtually everywhere. And we don't even take time to educate people about the roles of each stakeholder.
Yes.
What is my role as a member of parliament? What is the role of a district chairman? What is the role of the funeral service?
Yes.
What is the role of events manager?
Yes.
People who are campaigning tend to put themselves into conflict with the community by even talking about roles that do not belong to them. We do acknowledge that the population may not necessarily be aware of the different roles that each player is supposed to be involved in. But I would say that it is very, very important that when we go out there to look for votes, we should also do civic education. Other than voter education, we should also be involved in civic education so that the voter understands that if I'm to vote for Winnie, she's going to be member of parliament. Her roles are to represent me in parliament, to appropriate the budget, to do legislation, and then do oversight. But you hear members of parliament saying, I'm coming to dig a road, I am coming to do a borehole, I will come and buy ambulances, I will be taking you to funerals, I will, and you start talking a lot that is even outside your mandate. That one you can even do even when you are not in parliament. You can continue burying, you can continue attending weddings, you can continue being everywhere as and when you want, not necessarily that you have to be a member of parliament. And people vote you knowing that you will be with them 24/7. Now, before you know it, you reach parliament and you are held up by the programs in parliament, legislation, oversight, budgeting, and you don't go back to the people. That is how people end up now either losing, and that is why the attrition rate is so high. But the other issue is that be true. Let people vote you for who you are. Not coming and you excite people with money, bribe everybody, you make the hell out of politics, and then before people know it, there is nobody that they voted. So let people come, be true to themselves. It is just about service. It is service. And service, really, let it be service. Unless if people are going into politics for business and you know that you are putting in your money, you have to go and get it from there. But for me, who believes that leadership is about service and service above self, I would see no harm. I would no reason why I should go killing people, why I should go boxing people, just because I want to be a leader. However, I don't also believe in people who want to rig others' victory. Because there are those who want to harvest from where they did not sow. They have not worked hard, and someone has earned his victory or her victory, and they want to rob it from the person. I don't also support those. Let the people choose the leaders that they deserve. Let the people choose the leaders that they believe in. So forcing and rigging of elections should not be the thing that our leaders should be thinking about. I hear there are some leaders who say, for us, we shall just rig. We know how to rig. We shall go and bribe. I would really appeal to our leaders that that should not be the way to go. That you are preparing to go into an election with a mentality of rigging, with a mentality of bribing your way out. No, we deserve better.
That's true.
And so to the leaders, those who are going into leadership, we are ready to vote. But we want a free and fair election.
Yeah.
Competition should be fair. That when I come and I launch my manifesto, people listen to me, they judge me according to the programs that I have given. And then they say, Winnie, you are not fit or you are fit. And I go home, I congratulate the winner. But when I know that I have been unfairly treated, I've not been given an opportunity to express myself.
Yes.
We know that the military is not supposed to be into elections, and I see the military coming at polling stations and beating up people. The military going into rallies and then dispersing the crowds. That is unfair. And that is not what the Constitution talks about.
Yes.
Election is not really a battlefield. It's an exercise that is supposed to enable citizens freely choose their leaders. And so I pray that the next round of elections that we are going for give Ugandans a chance to choose the leaders that they deserve. And I know we can have a better world. Uganda is a beautiful country with beautiful people. But the wrong ones that spoil the soup for Uganda wield a lot of power and they abuse it. But we pray that this election coming will be a successful one for Ugandans and we shall have leaders of the people's choice.
Yes. Thank you so much, Honorable. I hope our audience that you have learned something, a thing or two. Please share with us in the comments any questions, any comments, what you've learned today, what you knew now that you wish you knew yesterday and that you're very glad you know now. And let's keep the conversation going about leadership and governance.